You're listening to AI News of the Week, brought to you by the AI Tips and Tools YouTube channel. Subscribe for weekly insights, trends, and updates from the world of artificial intelligence.
Welcome to the deep dive. This week, we're jumping into the big AI trends shaping 2025.
Yeah, we've got some expert analysis looking at the overall picture and, well, a pretty major announcement about some new AI models.
Exactly. It's a lot to take in.
For sure. So our mission today is basically to pull out the most important bits, the stuff that you as creators, entrepreneurs, or just tech enthusiasts really need to know to stay ahead.
Think of it as your essential AI download for right now.
You got it.
Okay, so let's start high level. Our sources talk about these overarching themes for AI this year. What are the undeniable trends?
Well, one of the biggest shifts is definitely towards more sophisticated AI agents.
Agents. You mean like more than just chatbots?
Exactly. We're talking AI that can actually, take action, make decisions, manage a whole project almost independently.
Wow. Okay. That's a pretty significant step up. More proactive.
Right. And that ties into another thing, AI understanding more than just words. Multimodal AI is really gaining steam.
Multimodal. So text, images, video, audio, all at once.
Precisely. It processes all that together for a much richer understanding. Imagine AI watching a video, getting the conversation, seeing the objects, maybe even sensing the emotion.
That's, yeah, much more complete. And I guess generative AI is moving beyond just text, too.
Oh, absolutely. The practical uses are exploding. We're seeing it generate really convincing images, videos, even working code now.
Which is huge for speeding things up, content creation, innovation.
Definitely. But, with all this power comes more focus on, well, the tricky stuff.
Ethics, explainability, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Making AI understandable, using it responsibly, and also the need for just general AI literacy is growing. People need to grasp the basics as it becomes more embedded everywhere.
And it feels like it's not just the huge tech giants anymore.
Good point. Another key trend is AI democratization. The tools, the tech, it's becoming more accessible. Smaller businesses, individual creators, even hobbyists can get involved.
Lowering the barrier to entry, right, which probably fuels more innovation.
For sure. And we're also seeing AI get really specific.
How so?
Industry-specific adoption. So healthcare using it for diagnostics, finance for fraud, transport for autonomous vehicles, manufacturing, cybersecurity.
Yeah.
Each sector is tailoring AI for its own challenges.
Okay, that gives us a good map of the big picture. Now let's zoom in a bit. Our sources mention some specific mid-2025 observations from IBM. What did they find?
Yeah, IBM highlighted 5 key things from the first half of the year. First, a huge drop in AI inference costs.
Inference. That's like the cost of actually using the AI model.
Exactly. Making predictions, generating stuff, and lower costs make deploying those sophisticated agent systems we talked about much more practical.
Okay. Makes sense.
They even gave an example. Their Granite 3.3 model, way smaller than the original GPT-4, actually did better on some coding tasks.
Wow. Smaller, better, cheaper. That's impressive efficiency. What else stood out?
The evolution of reasoning models. So first, it was all about these long chains of thought for complex problems.
Right, I remember that.
But that can be slow. Now, the trend is towards hybrid reasoning models. They can give quick answers or switch into a deeper thinking mode when needed. More efficient.
Like knowing when to really mull something over?
Kind of, yeah. Models like IBM's Granite 3.2, Anthropic's Claude 3.7 Sonnet, Google's Gemini 2.5 Flash, they use this approach. Although, interestingly, some research is questioning how much those super long chains always help.
Okay. So smarter about how it thinks. What about the data AI learns from? Any issues there?
Oh, yeah. That was another big point. The strain on digital resources. Think Wikipedia, GitHub, these open source places are getting hammered by AI training data scraping.
Just tons of bots grabbing data.
Massive amounts. And sometimes pretty indiscriminately, maybe even ignoring rules. It puts a burden on those platforms. So now we're seeing defenses pop up to manage the bot traffic.
Right, the plumbing behind the AI getting stressed. Okay, IBM also mentioned a return of something. Mixture of experts models. MOE, break that down.
Sure. MOE, mixture of experts. It's an architecture where instead of one giant model, you have several smaller, specialized expert models.
It's like a team of specialists.
Exactly. For any given task, only the most relevant experts get activated. DeepSeek R1 really showed this works well, high performance, but also efficient. Now Metalllama 4, Qwen 3, IBM Granite 4.0 are using it.
Interesting. A different way to build powerful AI. And IBM's last point for the first half, something about hype versus reality.
Yeah, the gap between AI rhetoric and actual adoption. Lots of buzz, right? But businesses aren't always integrating it as fast as you'd think.
Really? How so?
Well, an IBM study on retail supply chains found generative AI was used more for creative stuff, like brainstorming, than for automating the boring, routine tasks everyone expected.
So experimenting more than fully implementing, maybe?
Seems like it. The transition can be complex.
Okay, so that's the look back. What does IBM predict for the rest of 2025?
5 more big trends they're watching. First, AI benchmark saturation and diversification.
Meaning the old leaderboards aren't useful anymore.
Pretty much. Like, the Hugging Face Open LLM leaderboard got retired because top models all maxed out the scores. It wasn't telling us much.
So we need new ways to measure.
Exactly. More domain-specific tests, more qualitative stuff like Chatbot Arena, though, that has its own controversies. The key thing is, IBM thinks organizations will need to develop their own benchmarks relevant to what they actually do.
Makes sense. Tailored evaluation. What's next? A shift in the underlying tech.
Potentially a big one. The rise of alternative architectures beyond transformers, which have dominated. They highlighted Mamba. It's a state space model.
Mamba, what's the advantage?
Efficiency, especially with long sequences of data. Transformers scale quadratically with context length, which gets expensive. Mamba scales linearly.
Which means faster, cheaper AI for longer tasks?
Potentially, yes.
Nah.
We're already seeing models like Mistral's Codistral Mamba, AI 2i's Jamba, and IBM's own upcoming Granite 4.0 using hybrid approaches. It could really help democratize AI further, lower hardware costs.
Wow, okay. That is significant. What about AI interacting with the real world?
That's the third trend. Embodied AI in world models. We're seeing more VC money going into humanoid robotic startups.
Robots with AI brains.
Kind of. And alongside that, research into world models, AI, that understands and predicts how the physical world works. Think physics, cause and effect. Some big names think this is key for reaching more general AI.
Fascinating. AI getting physical. Now, what about privacy? Always a hot topic.
Yep. IBM sees growing tension there between wanting personalized AI and needing privacy.
Like AI remembering your past conversations.
Exactly. OpenAI's ChatGPT memory feature is a prime example. It's helpful, but it raises privacy flags, so it's not available everywhere like in the EU because of rules like GDPR. Navigating that balance is getting crucial.
Yeah, that's a tough line to walk. Personalization versus privacy. And the last IBM prediction. It sounds personal.
It is. The idea of AI coworkers and the potential emotional side effects. Companies like Microsoft talk about an AI companion for everyone. Meta mentions AI friends.
So we might start forming emotional attachments to AI.
It's becoming a real possibility as they get more sophisticated. Raises some deep questions about those relationships and their impact, doesn't it?
Definitely does. Wow. Okay, so shifting gears slightly, but related to all this progress, the big Anthropic announcement, Claude 4.
Yeah, huge news. They've launched the Claude 4 family, 2 main models. Claude Opus 4, the powerhouse, and Claude Sonnet 4, the versatile all-rounder.
And they're positioning these as the foundation for next-gen AI assistance and coding tools.
That's the claim. They're making some particularly bold statements about Opus 4 and coding,
Like what?
billing it as potentially the best coding model in the world. They're citing really strong performance on standard coding benchmarks like SWE Bench, and they emphasize its ability to handle long, complex coding tasks without degrading. Sustained performance.
Okay, that's a high bar. And Sonnet 4, what's its role?
Sonnet 4 is the workhorse, designed for, daily AI tasks, agentic stuff. And the early feedback is looking really positive.
Oh, yeah. From who?
Well, GitHub announced plans to use it as the base for the new coding agent in GitHub Copilot, which is a huge endorsement.
Wow, okay. That is big.
Yeah, and tech commentators are noting improvements in following complex instructions, reasoning, even aesthetics. Developers are reporting it's great for building apps autonomously and makes fewer mistakes navigating code. Big leaps in software development capabilities, seems like.
Sounds like a serious step up across the board. What's under the hood? How are they achieving this?
Both Opus 4 and Sonnet 4 are these hybrid models we mentioned earlier. They have a mode for near-instant replies, but also an extended thinking mode for deeper reasoning on harder problems.
And who gets access to that deeper thinking?
It's in the paid plans Pro, Max, Team, Enterprise. But interestingly, Sonnet 4's extended thinking is also available to free users.
Oh, that's great. Makes advanced reasoning more accessible. Did they release new tools for developers too?
They did. A code execution tool, something called an MCP connector to standardize context exchange, a Files API for easier file handling, and prompt caching to speed things up.
So making it easier to actually build with these new models.
Right. Lowering the friction. Anthropic is really pushing that these models lead on real-world software engineering tasks and have strong performance overall, coding, reasoning, multimodal agents. They're positioning themselves right at the front.
Got it. And the cost for developers or businesses wanting to use them?
For Opus 4, it's $15 per $1 million input tokens, $75 for output. Sonnet 4 is cheaper, $3 for input, $15 for output per million tokens.
Okay. And they're available through the usual channels?
Yep. Anthropic API plus Amazon Bedrock and Google Cloud's Vertex AI. So pretty wide availability.
Seems like Anthropic is definitely making waves with Claude 4. Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive covering these big 2025 trends, IBM's observations, and the new Claude 4 models, what are the key takeaways for you?
I think it's the continued march towards more capable autonomous agents, the massive importance of multimodal AI, that growing awareness around ethics and responsibility, these potentially game-changing new architectures like Mamba, and just the sheer performance leap we're seeing with models like Claude 4. Things are moving incredibly fast.
Absolutely. The pace is just relentless. So for you listening, the real question is how these trends, these new tools like Claude 4, might impact your work, your creative projects, maybe your business. Worth thinking about.
Definitely. And maybe a final thought to chew on. As these AI agents get smarter and more personalized, what new possibilities and maybe new challenges do you see coming up in how we interact with tech? And maybe even how we interact with each other?
Yeah, that's a big one. Lots to consider. And hey, if you want to keep up with all these developments, week by week trends, tools, news, predictions, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, AI Tips and Tools.
We'll bring you the latest every week.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.